All right, all right. Welcome everybody to the first of many Dr. Cece Says Facebook Lives. Thank you everybody for joining in right now on the live, and thank you to everybody that will watch the replays. So I think a lot of you know that a couple of weeks ago, I did a 3-day live series. And if you didn't catch it, go on over to my page so you can check it out. And a little bit of background, I'm in a speaking course right now to sharpen my skills. And we were given an assignment to do this 3-day live series on something that we were passionate about. And I chose being your authentic self. I got amazing feedback. So many people reached out and said that they were blessed. But let me tell y'all something. I was blessed. Okay. As far as I am along this journey of, being my authentic self and finding my voice and using my magic and filling my space, when I did that 3-day live series, I actually found myself feeling freer. I found myself thinking more outside of the box and believing God for some additional things. And that's always my goal with any of my speaking or therapy, any of those things that I do. My goal is to bless somebody as God has blessed me. And so that's how we got here today, with a gentle nudge from my speaking coach. Shout out to Dr. G, Dr. Guillory, and all of the awesome feedback that I received from everybody. This is how Dr. Cece Says was born. So tonight for the first one, I wanted to talk to you guys about something that all of us can relate to, and that's pressure, right? Pressure or stress. And so that's something that we've all felt at some point, and pressure is something that we can feel physically as well as emotionally. So I always give you guys a story. So when I was younger, my dad always had these sayings. It seemed like he had a saying for everything, right? All situations. Like when you ask for money or you ask for something that seems like, really expensive, he used to say, "Girl, look out there in that backyard and tell me where the money tree is." And so as I got older, I figured out that he was setting me up for him to then come back and say, money doesn't grow on trees, right? Well, he had another saying. He had a specific one for pressure. So one day I was telling him that I didn't feel good and I wasn't really sure what was wrong. And so he said, "Well, what you been doing?" And so I told him, I said, "Well, I have this to do and I have that to do and I need to go this place and I got an assignment due at this time. And I told this person I was going to help him with this." And he looked at me and he said, "If pressure can burst a pipe, what do you think it'll do to you?" And y'all, that thing stuck with me, right? He said it multiple times across my life. And now that he's no longer with me here on earth, I recite it for myself sometimes as a reminder, all right? So let's get into it. What can pressure do to us? Given all the things that we have collectively endured over the past 2 years, right, as a society with the pandemic, given all the things that we continue to witness, all of the things that we continue to experience, especially people of color, all of the atrocities that we see. Just, I think it was yesterday or day before yesterday, we had the tragedy in New York in the subway. Right, all of those things, and then you add on what we deal with individually that comes just with life, right? It makes sense that we all deal with stress, and we deal with stress that builds. So what does stress do, right? What can it do to us? Drop some comments in the chat for me. You guys that rocked with me with the 3-day live, I like to do things interactively. So drop in the chat, what have you noticed when you have too much pressure build up? Hey, everybody. I'm just now seeing the comments, y'all. Hey, Glennie. Y'all, let me just, while you dropping some things in the chat, let me just say I have the most amazing support system, right? I have people that's joining me tonight from everywhere, all my folks from Alabama and Tennessee and up here in Maryland. And Glenisha is actually joining all the way from the West Coast. And she's actually at work, but she wanted to jump on and show her support. So I appreciate that. All right, let me see what y'all are saying. So my brother, hey, JJ Culpepper. My brother said loss of sleep. My sis said sickness. My other sis said it can cause physical symptoms. Definitely, Tab. We're going to talk about that in a minute. She says it avoids things. She avoids things. Definitely. My hubby says energy drained. Glennie says impact her effectiveness at work. Bri says distract us, demotivate us, definitely. And so for people that don't know, Brian is one of my favorite people that I met up here for work. And so we talk to our kids and our families a lot in therapy about what happens when we have too much stress and too much pressure that builds up, right? And how it actually moves us away from our target instead of moving us towards our target. Okay, lack of focus. Yeah, loss of sleep, definitely. Oh my goodness. Tiff said death. Tiff, you're right. That is definitely where that can lead. It can lead us to death. So and of course, you guys that know me know I don't talk about problems without talking about solutions. So we're going to get there, right? But I just wanted to kind of sum up what everybody just said. So pressure can trigger all sorts of emotional and physical concerns, right? It can cause a decline in your mood, an increase in your worry, irritability, anger, mental confusion, mental memory concerns. And it also can exacerbate things like anxiety and depression. Physically, we see a lot of aches and pains and muscle stiffness, increase in blood pressure, right? Stomach ulcers, migraines. And when we think about our behavior, because this part is real important, this is something we talk to our kids about a lot. You can feel things, people are still going to require your behavior to be appropriate. And so when we think about the impact of pressure on our behavior, it can have us acting all out of character. Right? Sometimes it has us trying to be too much for too many people. Or like Brian was saying, we'll go in the opposite direction because we're demotivated. And so now we're just not able to do anything. It can also have you going off on folks when all they did was ask you how you were doing. And it can have you slapping people in public because something they said was the proverbial straw that broke the camel's back. So being under too much pressure can definitely make you burst, just like a pipe. So what do we do about it? All right. How do we prevent pressure from building up? That's the first thing. And then once it has actually built up, how do we alleviate or relieve that pressure? So guys, go ahead and drop some of that in the chat. What are some things you do to, one, stop pressure from building up? What's some of your strategies? I'll give you guys a minute to do that. Hey, classmate. I see you in the building. Oh, my hubby said hug his wife. And yes, we do that because, well, one, because we like it, but two, research actually shows that physical affection can calm cortisol levels. It can calm and slow your heart rate. It actually puts you in a state of relaxation. My sis said become more organized. Ooh, say no. You know that's mine, sis. So I'm going to talk about that in a minute. Brian says social support, plans, and breaks, definitely. Jill said pray. Hey, sis. Okay. Tiff said prayer. And y'all know that's definitely on my list. And I didn't even do this on purpose. But the shirt I have on tonight actually speaks to this. So it says trust God and chill. Right. So that's definitely another one. Being able to put your hope, your trust, all of your faith in God, because you know he's going to take care of it. All right. Working out, turning off text. Yep. Taking a deep breath and turning it over. Have some quiet time. Definitely. Definitely. So I want to start. My sis said, say no. And so she knows we talk about this all the time. My go-to, my very first thing is boundary setting. And y'all, this has been a game changer for me. It's not something that I've always been good at. And when I look back and think about it, when I was not setting boundaries, I was picking up things that did not belong to me, right? I was handling things that weren't meant for me. And so just as a side note, stop picking up stuff that doesn't belong to you. You know how we tell kids, don't touch that, that's not yours? We need to be able to tell ourselves that. Don't touch stuff that's not yours. If it's not your problem and nobody asked you for your help, don't touch that. Right? If somebody's going through something, you tried to give them the assistance that you could give them and they didn't want that, don't touch that. Let's stop picking up stuff that doesn't belong to us. Okay? And when we start to set boundaries by saying no, by checking in with ourselves and seeing, are we in a place to actually even give out something right now? Or do we need to keep what we have for ourselves? Right? So when we start doing that type of stuff, we'll notice a lot of pressure that we might have felt, we don't even feel. And so another way that I prevent pressure from building up is to engage in activities that I enjoy. So if I'm putting my efforts into activities that pour back into me, right? Things that give me joy, things that bring me peace, I have less room and less time for things that bring me pressure. So if I am enjoying a conversation or enjoying a night out with my husband, I have less time for the drama that might come from certain phone calls, right? Or if I am setting good boundaries at work, shout out to my job, who's really good. You know, everybody at work is really good about planning and work-life balance. But if I am, making sure that I have activities to do after work, then I am not too consumed with things at work that maybe aren't for me. Right? So definitely do some activities that pour back into you, things that bring you joy. Some of mine are cooking. I love to cook. Anybody that knew my mom and my grandmom, you knew that was their thing. So I cook a lot. I color, all things music. So playing instruments, listening to music, singing in my house, because I don't sing outside of my house, but in my house singing. And I found a new activity recently. And so it's painting, but not just like, the sip and paint. I do that as well, but painting small figurines. I did not think that it was going to be as peaceful as fulfilling as it has been, but I'm starting to really like it. So we talk about, how we can stop pressure from building up, but now let's talk a little bit about how we can keep pressure or alleviate the pressure that comes. First, we have to identify where the pressure is coming from, right? And then we'll kind of know what to do. So if the pressure is coming from the fact that we took on too many things, maybe, professionally and personally, then we know the solution is to pull back some. If the pressure is coming because someone in our life is critiquing what we do and how we are, and it causes us stress and pressure to be around that person, we might pull back a little bit from, spending time with that person. Doesn't mean that we don't love them. It just means that we are in a position where we have to protect our peace and we have to decrease the stress. All right. So once we identify where it's coming from, and once we kind of start doing the things to decrease that, then we can circle back around to boundary setting and engaging in activities that we love. All right. We can go back to steps 1 and 2. Okay. Just checking my notes here. Yes. So guys, that's about all I have for you tonight. Just wanted to jump on real quick and talk about pressure. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed it. And I hope to see you guys next week. Same time, same place. All right. Good night, y'all.